GM just had a pretty darn good quarter and a fantastic quarter if you're looking at EVs alone, up 94% over the same period last year, with the strength of their Cadillac Escalade IQ, their Cadillac Lyriq, their Cadillac Celestiq, all those different Cadillacs, plus the Blazer, the Equinox, and a bunch of others. We're going to talk about all that and discuss also how definitely this is going to remain, how these strengths nothing could undermine them, and how GM is golden for the future. That's my buddy Mark here from the Tesla Life. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Ozza. So Mark, I'm sure you heard the amazingly good news. General Motors sales jumped 17% with their EV sales up 94% to 31,887 units. That's, wow. If you were selling 1,000 a day, that would be a better number than this.
Yes, it would.
But GM is the second largest seller of EVs behind some little company out of California, I forget who sells that many in their sleep.
Starts with a T.
Yeah.
Toyota. No, not them.
If you look at my April 1st video, Tadiddle has made a offer to purchase the company and change the branding to Tadiddle. So much brand damage. We're going to call, you've already got the T, just keep the E, the T and the E, and then we'll change the rest to Diddle. So that's definitely, I don't know if their offer of stock, $130 cash and in-game tokens is going to necessarily make the deal sweet enough, but the offer's on the table.
I love the in-game tokens. That's a great ad.
Well, yeah, and he was like, I could sweeten it with that. I'm like, you got to. If heads of state can sell NFTs and crypto tokens, then
why not?
Then what are we even doing? The simulation's broken. So yeah, we're the leader, the industry leader in trucks and affordable small SUVs. Cadillac is growing significantly in luxury. I mean, they are, in theory, the Cadillac of automobiles, though I've yet to find much evidence of that. And we have the broadest portfolio of EVs in the industry. Yeah. And you know why? Because Mary led.
Yeah.
And by the way, when all of us in Teslaverse were mocking Mary for that absurd, ridiculous, damaging kind of rhetoric, it never occurred to me to go and flip off a dude in a Corvette. Didn't think of it.
Didn't think of that, huh?
Any headwinds we should be on the lookout for General Motors?
Yeah, there seems to be a major headwind that started January 20th.
Uh-oh. What's that?
And we've got a different administration that is, if not negative, certainly neutral on EVs. It's been a issue for that administration. We've seen the discussion about axing the federal rebate that's offered in the United States. We've heard things about them cutting out charging programs, already slashed. We've heard about them pulling away from EVs in a big way, and that's coming. It seems to be. I've acted on some of it, not all of it, but there's certainly headwinds according to the administration that's in power today.
On Tuesday, Senator Rand Paul introduced a bill that would end the EV, the IRA credit for the purchase of new and used EVs. So that is something that's definitely under consideration. It was one of the campaign promises. We had hoped that it would be something that they would put off indefinitely because it impacts so many owners, so many buyers, so many states, so many companies. But we will have to wait and see what happens with that because they are steamrolling aggressively. GM makes most of their EVs, in un-America, North America. Where do they make most of their EVs?
I would say the majority of them are definitely made in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's where their Blazer and Equinox are made. Now, they do have, we talked about this before the show, they've got the Spring Hill plant that makes the Cadillac. They've got my favorite one, Hammock salad.
Hamtramck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically part of Detroit, and it's been their focus point for EVs since the beginning. The Volt, the first EV that was, not a complete EV, but it was a plug-in hybrid. That's where it was developed and made, was at Hamtramck.
Now, if you were an EV, a company that built like hot rods, and you want people to really adopt your EV, what are you going to do as a legacy car company to make your EV seem less like an EV and more familiar?
Well, let's see. GM has this wonderful brand called the Corvette Stingray
Okay.
that has been spectacular for them. Why not come out with the electric Corvette Stingray? They have teased us with that. You saw it at the auto show, Brian. You were there a year plus ago, when they said that the electric Corvette was coming. It still hasn't come. There's been a few mock-ups of it, but that would be something that you could push people towards, because you'd have a vehicle that would even outclass the current Corvette when it comes to acceleration and speed.
Yes, but that's a lot of work. I feel like we could do something easier. I mean, Stellantis has their exciting idea, Fratzonic exhaust sound,
Oh my gosh.
because that's what you absolutely need is a grumbly, angry sounding. And somebody on X the other day posted that there was one totaled that you could buy at auction, had 638 miles on the odometer. Pretty on brand.
Wow.
But Ford's got their own idea that I think is even smarter. Fake shifters,
Oh no.
fake manual shifter. Yeah. And that's
You know
not-
what? That's a really easy one to do, Brian, because it's not hooked to anything. You could we could add a fake shifter to our cars tomorrow, no problem. I might use a
Wow.
pencil.
Yeah. I would get one of those decorative little skulls that you see in like Mad Max kind of stuff. It's clear that EVs have quietly taken over the sensible side of driving. They're smooth, quiet, efficient, and for most people, that's what it should be. But for enthusiasts, well, I want a shift. Come on.
You can pretend to shift with anything, because of course all you have to do is oscillate the lightning pedal, and you can get a feeling of shifting going on anytime you want.
Indeed. So what we're going to cover now, because it's that time, is our Q&A. This is ex-Waymo CEO mocks Tesla's FSD from last week, which I will share. It looks like that. Good. That works. And then we'll just get into the Q&A here. But it's not only Waymo, guys. Several Chinese companies and Zoox are already fielding them. And I said those are not fully autonomous. If they were, they'd scale. There's a driver. They just ain't sitting in the car. Do you know exactly how Tesla will roll out in Austin? Obviously, no. It may very well be geofence with a human backup operator. Correct. That's what I've been saying for like a month. So, yes.
Yep.
Yes. First, Brian, thanks for fixing the news. Hey, man, if it's broke. As sensors go, cameras make the most sense from a value perspective. Is radar next, or some other type of sensor? And how far up the scale is FLIR? Do you know what FLIR is?
What is FLIR?
It is infrared that's just outside the visible spectrum. So
Okay.
that can be useful. And the cars are already using that to an extent. If you pull up your cameras while you're driving at night, you may be able to see the clouds in your blinker cameras in ways that your human eye cannot. And that's a little bit of that, because they can see a little bit into the infrared, and the clouds are at different temperature. So, but when I've had problems with FSD, they have not been problems with limits of perception. They've been problems with limits of decision making, where it'll see everything just fine and then do something that I disagree with. Now, I have had situations where it can't see through a torrential downpour, but LiDAR can't either. That's more data. That's not better data. And I would add to that if we just want more sensors, regardless of how rarely they're needed, why don't we have a little drone port in the back that has hot swappable drones that just keep going out and looking around corners, so you can see things that no car can? around corners.
Yeah, that would be cost that's stopping that.
Cost, logistics, and really, really a lack of benefit. So I don't think that's the best solution. Do you think more sensors are needed, Mark?
I think that Tesla has decided that they're going to follow the vision aspect of this.
Mm-hmm.
And they've determined that they can get all the data they need from vision strictly based on humans only having two eyes and us being able to drive pretty respectably, safely around the world for the past 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Agree on all counts. Anyone else get a George Costanza vibe from this napping at work thing?
Thanks, David.
I don't think he means us. I think he means we were talking about. I don't think he's talking about us, but Costanza, he had a lot of things figured out.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
My mandatory question: where did all the Neo will dominate Tesla, swappable batteries are the future guys go? Yeah, I don't hear as much from them.
Yeah, Neo's been pretty quiet, especially the swappable battery thing. I have a feeling that they've probably discovered that beyond a PR blip that happened with it, is that it's costly to do. And if you're going to have your battery being swapped with somebody else's battery over time because you have to leave it behind so it can be charged, then you've got people that are saying, well, is it really my battery? Am I just renting a battery? Do I want to rent a battery? Do I want to get a battery that is subpar to the brand new battery I had in my car just to get a quick charge? It doesn't really make sense, just as Tesla found out a number of years ago.
Agree on all counts. Now, I would push back a little and say Neo's sales have expanded. They're continuing to expand, and their swap stations have increased in number and throughput, but only in China. In China, there are a lot of people who do not have the ability to charge at home. They do not have access to charge at home. If the majority of your buyers do not have home charging, then I could see where it would make sense from a consumer perspective, but not from the company's perspective. It's still too expensive. And if you look at their financials, which were recently published, they are hemorrhaging cash. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if you reach a certain point where you're like, okay, now we can start making money now that we have enough spare batteries sitting around to last forever.
That's a bit of a gamble.
Have you decoded the Tesla voice commands for playing a particular song on Spotify? Something changed. Now, I haven't experienced this change. I just hit the microphone button and say, play, Smokin' Joe Rude Boy by Tom Cardy on Spotify. And sometimes it will understand that I don't want to listen to a book on tape by Tom Hardy, but Tom Cardy. But no, it works okay for me. In the comments, I would welcome others to share their experience if you've had an issue with it. I've not seen any degradation in the functionality of my voice commands. Have you?
I haven't, but I don't use Spotify at all. But I do have a unique situation when it comes to playing something on the radio. I use the live one, so the default that came with the car. Used to be called Slacker. Now it's Live One. But I can't get it to play a single song. Another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. It will not play that song for me ever.
They must not have the license.
And yet, if I asked it to play some Queen or another Queen song, it'll find it, it'll play it, and then 3 songs later, another one, Bites the Dust, shows up on its own. So it's really bizarre. I've had other people test it, and they haven't been able to get the song to play, and some have. So I really don't understand what the difference is.
In the comments, what is going on is my question for the class. If you leverage time zones properly, can we have nearly 48 hours of April 1st? I considered doing a bit of Australia the night before and then into Europe, but I figured for this year, 6 videos for April Fools was sufficient. Maybe even more than
You went all out this year, Brian. I don't know how you're going to top yourself next year.
You gotta treat every at the end of every season like it's a finale, and you'll always have a great show. Conversely, if you don't, then you're going to be canceled before you get picked up for next season.
And if you haven't watched them, please go back and check out some of those April 1st videos that were just published a day ago.
Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, it's more than a day ago, but yes. How many years has Waymo offered a fully autonomous rides? Not 10 years. That's true. They did have safety drivers for a lot longer than the last couple of years. Let's see. They said Waymo is leading the future of autonomy. Turns out that version of the future's in beta forever. Slow and steady wins the race eventually. Maybe, we think. Matt's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think I had a couple other really good ones I wanted to get to, but maybe not. Oh, yeah. Medicare refuses to pay for my diagnosed failed LiDAR transplant after I walked into a window that knocked me to the ground. Who should I sue? Waymo? Or the artist who painted a tunnel on the window? Signed, confused in a hospital.
Signed Wild E. Coyote.
Yeah. RA is in here regularly dropping gems, so that's appreciated. Chinese napping at work. I've heard of a Mexican siesta as well. And let's see. CEO of Waymo, clearly under great threat. If what he claims were correct, then why even say it? Whoa, that's a good point, huh? That is a good point. I would say, first of all, he ain't the CEO, he's the ex-CEO, but he's giving a speech. He's supposed to be relevant. So he'll say all kinds of things to be relevant, is my interpretation.
Yeah. Get more media coverage if you say something controversial.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, in the comments, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Head over to The Tesla Life with Mark and Casey and Patrick and see what they are up to. I assume it's, that they're definitely up to no good. I know that they haven't been spray painting on Teslas, but they have been spray painting, wieners on potholes. Do you know about that guy in England? There's a guy who would, anytime he'd report a pothole and the council wouldn't fix it, he'd spray the old twig and berries on it, and then the city would come out and fix it. And what did they call this anonymous artist? Wanksy.
Of course
they did. They've got a real flair for the language. So guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. I beg of you, leave it. I guess we can make comments optional, but it's something to definitely consider. No? Okay. Mandatory. No. Just one last week of one last forever of mandatory. And I will say, support the mission if you want. Patreon, YouTube, X. I think my referrals are tapped out, so that's not going to help. But if you need a referral link, I'm sure Mark has one. Do you have one? Oh, yeah.
I definitely have one.
Well, then send it to me after the show, and I'll make sure it gets linked in the description. And everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the next one.